morning. Tonight was a very good night in Ferguson. And I want to first thank the dedicated professionals from law enforcement who are still energized and totally committed to keeping the streets safe and conflict-free after 11 days and nights. I also want to thank two groups of people who made that happen. First, the law-abiding men and women and teenagers of Ferguson, the St. Louis area, and everywhere else, who embraced free expression and took another step toward healing and understanding tonight. I'd like to especially thank and express my gratitude to our elders of this community and the clergy and leaders and activists who assisted us tonight. In the business of law enforcement, you can often tell how the night is going by the radio traffic. And tonight, the radios were mostly quiet. Light traffic on the radios and light traffic on the street. Crowds were smaller, they were calm and orderly. This was not a conflict-free night. At about 8 p.m., one of our officers was hit with a bottle near Campfield. Fortunately, he was not injured. The trend is good. Yesterday's crowds were smaller than Monday's, and as I said, the crowd was even smaller tonight. We also had to respond to fewer incidents tonight. There were no Molotov cocktails tonight, no fires, no shootings. We did not seize a single handgun. There were no confrontations. Just like Tuesday night, tonight we deployed no smoke, no tear gas, and no mace. And again tonight, police fired not a single bullet. Last night through 2 a.m., the number of arrests were 47. Tonight, the number was 6. At about 7 o'clock tonight, Governor Nixon came by the command center and visited with the Unified Command. He praised all the departments for the coordinated measure response that is being utilized. The governor also met with the officers who are working the streets and expressed his appreciation for their work. Doing the day tonight, doing the day today, I met with U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder. He told me that what's going on here in Ferguson is a great example of community policing. Let me tell you what he meant by that. Today on Ellison Drive, in much of the conflict, there were 3 Missouri State troopers who noticed a basketball hoop without a net. There was no basketball. The troopers decided they wanted to do something for the kids in the neighborhood. They used their own money and bought a net and basketball. As they installed the net, some neighbor children came out of their home and asked them what the troopers were doing. They told the kids they wanted them to have a net and a basketball. As those troopers drove off, the children were playing basketball. That is the true meaning of community policing. I will answer a few questions.
For the 6 arrests, what types of things were they arrested for?
Some were failed to disperse. There was one for peace disturbance. The other 2 I'm not aware of at this time.
Captain, to what extent do you just attribute that it was pretty good soaking downpour we got in the middle of the evening? Do you think that helped to kind of disperse the crowd and many of them just didn't come back?
Well, actually, earlier in the week we had heavier rain than we had tonight. We sustained it longer, and the crowds did not leave. And so, no, I think that before the rain came, we've seen a calm in the crowd. We saw a different crowd that came out tonight. We didn't have as many agitators and, as I said, criminals in the crowd.
Are you anticipating further violence when the grand jury sits or even around the funeral might be around?
I tell you that I am going to enjoy the peace we had today and not focus on what ifs.
Can you talk a little bit about the clergy and the work that they've been doing at the city? There was some further weak or bigger riots, but I need to know, let's talk a little bit about the clergy work.
The clergy have been a great example of the strength of this community. The respect that we all have for our faith, their calming words, their patience, and their ability to express what's right. because I know in the end, this is going to make us better. It's going to bring us peace. And it's going to make us better men and women. It's going to make our kids better. It's going to make our nation better. And I look forward to it.
Is it a turning point though? Almost that turning point. What do you see the days after the progressing like this?
I tell you that we've been here several nights, and each night I've seen a turning. Each night I've seen small steps. Sometimes those small steps are hard to see, but I know small steps turn into big steps. So we've been taking small steps every day.
Did you change your strategy at all tonight versus the last 5 months?
We always go back as a group. You see the chief of St. Louis County here, the chief of St. Louis City, the major of field operations and Missouri Side Patrol. And we go back every night and we sit and we look at our operational plan and see how we can make it better, how we can do it better. And also part of that is when we're out in the community and we're talking to the citizens out there, we're listening to what they're telling us and their concerns. And that goes into our thinking also.
Captain,
What are the adjustments that you made?
Well, I'm really not going to talk about our operational plan and our adjustments. We just know it's something that we evaluate each and every day.
Captain, when you met with Attorney General Holder today, what did you tell him about these operations and what did he want?
We really didn't talk about what he wanted. I actually walked in and stuck on my hand for a handshake, and he put out both of his hands and actually embraced me with both of his hands and told me, he said, this is what community policing is about. He said, we thank you.
Did he give you any indication exactly what he feels about just what needs to be done to kind of lower the temperature of everything?
No, he just told me his views on policing, what policing should be within communities. Thanked me and wanted me to thank those that are here on the line, front line, and that we're doing a great thing, we're doing a good thing.
After tonight, do you see this as the beginning where you can start to scale back? At what point do you say, okay, we can start to reduce the number of troopers that are here, National Guard, that sort of thing?
Like I said earlier, we'll continue to evaluate the situation, evaluate operations, and we'll adjust accordingly.
Do you think Holder's visit today, his meeting with community leaders, meeting with Michael Brown's parents, had a calming effect on the protests or had any impact in terms of tonight's different view?
I believe it did. I believe it left this community that know that their voices have been heard by the greatest top of the law officer in the land. They know that their voice has been heard.
Captain, the officers who are deployed in the street on the front line against protesters, why are they carrying long guns?
Actually, the officers that were directly on the line did not have long guns. Do we have officers that have long guns? Yes, but those officers were directly on the line did not have long guns.
2 nights ago, when the officers who were making arrests were going through the crowd with rifles, is that necessary? How did you make that decision?
You were here for the last 2 nights, and we had weapons displayed. Like I said last night, these officers have families, these officers have parents, these officers have loved ones, and they are going to be protected.
When will the First Amendment return to the streets of Florissant, sir?
You saw it tonight. So unless you were sitting here, you saw it tonight.
When will the policy change that you can not walk on the streets?
There were some pro-Darren Wilson supporters, and the police moved in quickly to remove those supporters from the demonstrators. It was handled in what I believe was a very professional manner. Did you guys discuss afterwards how you would handle that in the future should more supporters show up?
We're here to provide safety for everyone. And that's the protesters, that's the media, that's the group that you had here today. And as you've seen yesterday, we provide protection for the agitators, even for them. So everyone here, our uniform says we'll protect and serve everyone that's here.
When are you going to restore the right of assembly?
Excuse me?
When are you going to restore the right of assembly to assembly everywhere?
Yes. To be not see the right of assembly tonight.
Just in
It's
one
not a simple,
spot.
you have to keep moving.
Yeah.
When will the First
why do
Amendment be
people
on
have to
force?
keep moving?
I tell you, I stood out there tonight with many of you, and you saw groups stopping. You saw groups stopping in different locations to talk to. You saw groups stopping at the media areas, and so they had.
One more question. Let me confirm, how many totally have been arrested after background shutting down August 9th?
I don't have those total numbers. We had 6 tonight. Last night we had 47. So I don't have the total numbers. We can get those numbers.
Can you comment on the police officer who threatened to kill the protester last night? He was suspended from duty.
Now we contacted his department. The minute we knew about that, we identified him. Contacted his department, notified his department that he would be relieved from respond to be a part of this incident. That behavior was not going to be tolerated. And my personal opinion is I felt that behavior disrespected his uniform and also disrespecting all the men and women that come out here each and every day in a dedicated effort to make Ferguson a better place for all. Thank you.
Will he return to duty?